Okay, so we're getting ready to actually fret this. But before I'm going to do that, I've now sanded the fretboard down to, well, up to 800 grit, which is, a lot. But I want it to look nice and shiny. Because it is a birch fretboard, I am a little, because it's a birch fretboard, it is a little softer than maple and other fretboard woods. So what I'm thinking of doing is gluing in the frets. Now, by gluing in the frets, I am essentially, by gluing in the frets, I am essentially making this a bit more sturdy. Now, I don't want there to be glue on the fretboard as such, because that would be a pain to actually get rid of. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to oil the fretboard at this stage so that I don't get any glue splurting onto the fretboard. Now, to that end, I have not taken the dust out of the fret slots. I mean, it's come out of here, and I'll deal with that in a bit. Mainly due to the fact that glue will not stick to oil. So if I get it in the fret slots, that means that the glue won't really sit in or seat the frets as I would like them to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some 1200 grit wet and dry to spread the oil to get it to an even shinier surface. Jeez, look at that. And then after this, I'm going to clean out the fret slots. I'm not adding huge amounts of oil on here, but just enough to kind of protect the fretboard. Really rubbing it in there. All right. Awesome. And now I'm just going to use some paper here to get rid of all the excess. Look at that. That's pretty cool. All right, let's clean out those fret slots. Because I don't want the dust and oil to make a mixture either. That would then crystallize in the fret slot. That would also not be ideal. I do have a specific tool for this as well. There's a fret slot cleaning tool. It's just got a little bit more of a point to it, so I can get the majority out with the saw. And the rest out with this. All right, now in preparation for getting frets installed on this, I am going to need to do this a bit differently because of the binding. So I essentially need to take off the tangs. I'll show you what I mean by that. This bottom part here, of course, I can't put the fret in like this because of the binding, so I need to take a little bit off from the bottom here, so the tang portion. I don't have what are called fret tang nippers, so instead I'm just gonna little by little take away material with the Napex cutters, which I use to cut the frets down to size in the first place. Now I can't take off too much at a time because then it will start bending the fret in the wrong direction, which is not what I want. Literally taking a little tiny bit at a time. Yes, it is very annoying work, and it does take a while to do, but the end results speak for themselves, really. Alright, so now I've nipped off a little bit there, and you can see that I've taken off a little bit, but now I still need to file down that excess material right there. Just going to use a small file like this. Wonder if I can even put it in. Yep, and put it in that groove. There. That's one side of this fret done. I'm going to snip that to size. Leave a little bit of excess. There. And then repeat the process. So this is going to take a while. I'm going to do the rest and then we'll come back for fretting. I'm going to start hammering in these frets, a couple of them at a time, but what I am going to do is put in a little bit of glue, which will solidify the fretboard just ever so slightly. Not a lot, just a tiny bit in the fret slots. I'm going to do 3 at a time. I'm wiping away all the excess with a damp cloth. All right, here we go. So, I don't need to teach you this. I almost started doing that again. Just gonna do it. Right. Going in nicely. These seem to be seating very, very nicely. Awesome. right, now that we have that done, it's time to get those fret ends filed down a bit. Okay, that's one side. Okay, now to get the bevel. Other side. There. Reinforce that bevel, or I should say, smooth out that bevel a little bit with leveling beam. And then we're good to actually glue the neck onto the body. So I'm gonna clean up a little bit for that. All right, here we go. Now I've already checked that when the neck sits in here, it sits perfectly perfectly as should in relation to the bridge. I just noticed that there's a little bit of stuff left over from the routing. This explains why I was getting a little bit of a wiggle, a little lip here. All right, now, as per usual, let's do a preliminary test here. So, neck in place. Let's put it that way around, just in case. Don't want any dents. Check that I'm getting a good joint all around. By the looks of it, yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I am going to, however, address that because it's much easier for me to access right now. There we go, much better. All right. All right. All right. This is always mildly terrifying. I don't know why, but it just is. So, I need to get the glue all over. Oop, oop, oop. I almost forgot one very important thing. So there's going to be splooge from the glue, but I don't want to have to clean up too much glue from all over the place, so if there is some spills, I can just remove it along with the masking tape here. There. Now I can put in the glue. ever so slightly too much glue. So I'm gonna take away some of that. Don't need that much. All right. No time to waste, and I'm gonna stop talking probably now. All right, let's clean up some of the spill. Oh no. Yeah, I'll be able to get the tape from under there after everything is set. I have a good feeling about how that went. Time to unclamp the neck and see how we got on. See, there's a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done, but as much was suspected. Goes back. Oh, well, not too much at all. A little bit of glue there, but I need to sand that down anyways. The joint just needs cleaning up. Need to peel that tape out of there, but man, this is a very lightweight guitar. Very, very lightweight. It's nice. And yeah, now we're pretty much gonna be just sanding, doing lots and lots and lots of sanding. And after we're done with that, then we're gonna move on to inlays, and then we're gonna move on to finishing and assembly. So let's get the boring part out first. So sanding. Let's get the very boring part out first, which is removing this masking tape. Little by little, pulling it out of there. It's squeezed in tight, I'll tell you that. Just got myself a blade that wasn't as sharp. There we go. Now that should be, yep. Yep, that's clear. Awesome. So what I'm gonna do is clean up the joint there. So clean up the glue from there. It's a hard area to really get into. But I think that this, while painfully slow, is probably my best shot. And then sanding away the rest as best I can. All right. So while I was sanding this down. I'm usually very, very paranoid about this thing particularly, so it's doubly annoying that it happened, but you can see that there is a little bit of, well, dents, because there was a broken off nail in the workbench. So that pressed down, and I need to try and kind of steam those out a little bit. And if I can't do that, try and get rid of most of them. So basically just take a wet rag, soldering iron, and try and steam that. Basically, what this does is it raises, if it's an indentation, if it's a indent, it'll raise the grain there. But if it's more of a cut, then there's not much you can do. But it seems like this is helping quite a bit. Doesn't hurt to have plenty of water. Just creates more steam, which is actually more helpful. It's working a little bit. Hopefully I can get it sorted. Sanding is never the most glamorous part of the job, but it's something that shouldn't be rushed. Because good sanding is key to a great finish. So put in the time and do it properly. So currently sanding with 120, just to get out all those marks left over from carving. I'm using the flats of my fingers and with the paper folded up, so it's more of a tool. Use some 100 just to get the volute and end of the neck here, or start of the neck depending on your point of view. Get that all nice into the right dimensions. A little bump on the volute that I want to get rid of right there. Okay, then 120. Clean that up. I mean, after we've done everything to 240, I'm going to wet the grain so that it raises it up a bit. And then I'm going to go back and sand that all away from 180 onwards. And that will also bring out all the unwanted bumps and scratches if I've missed some. Because as I sand, of course, everything gets clogged up with dust. Don't forget to feel around. Oh, one thing that needs to be done is fixing the F-hole here. Just gonna make this into a little tool. Fold them up. I'm sanding this at an ever so slight angle, so it angles out toward, making this look a little thinner